Russiano.
What? Am I putting a googie egg up my joots?
And Michael Lucas.
It did seem like an extremely high-risk, very low-reward strategy.
This is Emsolation.
Don't send me your thoughts and prayers. I don't give a shit about them. Don't send me your laughter and light. Don't send me anything. Send me gin and your Netflix password.
You're in Emsolation.
Hello, darlings. Welcome to this week's episode of Emsolation. My name is Russiano. I'm a writer, a singer, a stand-up comedian, a podcaster, and a maximalist power queen. I have the power. Shira. I always used to want Shira and He-Man to get together. And I mean, I was pretty devastated when I found out they were brother and sister. You know? Did you ever? I really wanted them to get together. I'm wearing a She-Ra Princess of Power t-shirt today, which is why my brain is on She-Ra. But my brain is never far from She-Ra, I'll be honest. I'm wearing red sequin pants also because, you know what, a daytime sequin, look, not enough can be said about a daytime sequin. It's a surprise and delight. You know, it just sets the intention for the day. I dress how I want to feel. And I wanted to feel like a retired showgirl out to brunch with her best gay friend and their 14 dogs, drinking gins at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and probably capping it off with a dry martini. I've never really had a dry martini, but that feels like the appropriate drink for this scenario. Soon I'll be welcoming in my best friend. Oh, God. I'm really trying not to get distracted. I've decided I'm not going to call it getting distracted now. I'm going to call it going on a mental side quest. Okay, I go on a lot of mental side quests, and our little sojourn to the showgirl lunch was a side quest. I hope you enjoyed it. But we're back on track now. Shortly, I'll be welcoming my co-host, my best friend since I was 11, screenwriter Michael Lucas. Did I already say that? This is honestly my 8th attempt at this intro, so who fucking knows? Probably. Anyway, this week he'll be joining me to discuss, Bennifer's PDA. Obviously, you didn't think that we could allow this moment to pass. Footage has surfaced of Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck pashing, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I love them. I'm just anyway, stop, save it, Em. We also talk about Chrissy Teigen. It's a very complicated situation. If you're not across it, we'll bring you across it. And it's a whole segment that we have honestly tried before and I had it removed because I'm really nervous about discussing the notion of cancel culture. Or if the whole thing, what is it? Is it a thing? Why is it a thing? I'm so nervous about it. I'm even nervous now. So we try and add something to that discussion. I don't know. And then finally, Scomo took a picture out front of a pub and everyone is pissed off. We talk about that. But how's your week been? Have you been good? Have you been feeling okay? I've had a good week. My tour's been rescheduled, which is super exciting, live and unleashed. We have new dates. We also have some new shows because Brisbane, there's 2 seats left, I think. So Brisbane, we've put on another show for you guys. And I know I was originally clashing with Joel Creasy and we share a massive audience. So I know, we do, but we do. So actually it makes total sense when you think about it. So there's an all new show for you, Brisbane, if you're hoping to come. All the information, though, is at frontiertouring.com/mrussiano, or all over my socials, basically. But the new shows, they go on sale today. If you're listening on Thursday, the 17th of June, if you are one of those people that listens straight away, I appreciate you. Thank you. That helps us on the charts. The tickets are on sale at 11 a.m. today. So get on that for Frontier members. There's so much information around the rescheduling of my tour that I have immense anxiety over it, and I can't get it all in my head, but just what I want to say to you is, please, I know a lot of you are organised mothers and or organised lesbians and or organised gay men. If you're a heterosexual man that has stumbled in here, welcome. I applaud you. I love you. You're going to grow so much and learn so many things. But everyone else, I know that a lot of you are super organised power people. So all I'm going to say to you is, please go and buy tickets to my show because it's how Mummy pays the bills. She's really good at it. And all the information can be found if you just Google it because I can't give it all to you now because I can't. It's through to my brain and this is the 8th attempt at an intro or 9th. I don't know. I'm looking 9th because I couldn't do it all. So just trust me. Russiano, Live and Unleashed, Frontier Touring. If you Google that, you'll get it all. The internet can be an amazing place. It can also be a narcissistic pit of spiders, but it's also a place where you can find information on my shows. The other exciting thing I want to tell you is that the Emsolation hoodies are coming. If you've not seen the design, it's at our Instagram page, at Emsolation Podcast. You need to be following that because it is the Bible to this show. It's the heart and soul. It's the Cliff Notes. My daughter runs it. It's a great Instagram page. But the design is there. Jess from the brand High Teas, she drew it for us and it's a masterpiece. To be honest, you'll see it involves the unicorn, the magical unicorn of death and the enchanted seahorse of hope. They're there and they're going to be on sale in a few weeks, $79.95, inclusive sizing, of course. That's very exciting. Yeah, I've had a pretty good week. I'm just going to exhale. I just realised how fast I've probably been speaking. Did you think that you had it sped up to like double? Sometimes I listen to things on double because I need things to be faster. But you don't need me to be faster. If anything, you need me to put myself on 0.5 speed. Just chill the fuck out, lady. I've had a good week. We've got some good news. The podcast is going gangbusters on Spotify. They're really happy. Look at me just chatting like we're on the phone. I'm just telling you about my week like you care. Or maybe you care. I don't know. Yeah, the tool's back on. I told you that. I've been throwing a lot of big walks into withers with my 2-year-old son. You guys, no one told me about the rock situation with sons. Not all sons. I know, I appreciate that. But my son, I don't know if your son did it, but we're in a real heavy wok phase and I'm finding woks in places they should not be. Just everywhere. They turn up in my washing machine, in my dishwasher, in my bra, in my undies, in my shoes, in my car. Woks. And he loves them so much. And now I found myself like taking photos of them when I'm out to show you. So if you ever see me hunched over on the side of the road taking a picture of something, it's me in a wok, you know. So I've been doing a lot of that. Why was I talking about woks? I couldn't even tell you. I've been spending a lot of time with Elio, which I've really been enjoying. I've been crafting. I've been making lamps. I had a craft emergency. I was feeling very frayed at the edges, so I just, decided to get some fabric from Spotlight. God, I love Spotlight. This is an unsolicited ad. Spotlight, if anyone's listening and you want to sponsor this podcast, oh my God. I was thinking about a good idea for a show would be me doing like hardcore craft, but doing it in my way. So I'll be like, grab the glue gun and put all that shit on there, but don't burn the shit out of your fingers. And we could sing. So it'll be like sweary craft instructionals that are really not accurate, but in the end you'll get a half decent product. Do you know what? I think that. All right. Time to bring Michael Lucas in. Oh, she snorted. MDV, just leave it in. Just let everyone know that this is not a slick operation in any way. I can't do a 10th. How long has this been going? 8 minutes. I set myself a target of 4. Shit. All right, that's enough from me. Thank you for being here. I love you. I appreciate you. It's an honour for you to listen to us. That's the wrong thing. Fuck it. Play the music.
M. Luciano and Michael Lucas. This is Emsolation.
Hello, Michael Lucas.
Hello, Amelia Rossiano.
I'm super nervous because the topic that we're going to hit on in the middle is fraught, but we're going to bravely push on. But first, to butter everyone up, to lube the ears and the souls and the hearts and the minds and the opinions of our listeners, we will start with Bennifer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you sent me a text message in all capital letters that said, must watch.
I know, and I just was very careful to just go with 2 words because I needed to get it to you so fast. I couldn't even get a complete sentence. It just had to. Even if I did capitalize them, yeah, and even that single stroke, I'm like, oh, you've delayed a quarter of a second there, but this needs to be in her eyeballs ASAP.
You know me so well because otherwise I just won't watch it. I'll watch it later in bed. Like you knew you had to capture the ADHD addled mind in the moment, and it worked. I was like, holy shit, it's in all caps. And it's not like an essay because he's a writer and he's always got to remind me he's a writer and he's good with words. But you just went hard.
Oh, can I just say I threw myself on I sacrificed myself. I didn't even watch the full clip before I sent it to you. I saw what it was and I'm like, oh, she's got the most important thing is that she gets to mainline it.
I see your sacrifice and I appreciate it.
This is our equivalent of a World War I campaign. No, I'm kidding. That's terrible. No, it's not.
Nah, it's all right. So the video was, we haven't even told people what the video was.
I think they've probably guessed.
We've just spent 3 minutes discussing how amazing it was that you sent it without watching it. Now, the sacrifices for our friendship. So basically, it was a kind of dodgily filmed video of Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck at Nobu, Malibu, which, by the way, if anyone knows anything about Nobu, Malibu, that's the place you go when you want to be photographed by the paparazzi. Like, you may as well wear a big fucking T-shirt that says, "Take my photo." If they didn't go, they could have literally gone to any other establishment to eat. But if you are picking Nobu, Malibu, it's like a big statement. They wanted to be photographed. And the video was on someone's dodgy iPhone. So, mum, it'd be me. I can imagine it's me going, oh my God, just get it. It's shaking, it's moving. And they captured a canoodling, mid-canoodle of J-Lo and Ben Affleck. But the interesting thing about the canoodle was that it was for Jennifer Lopez's sister, Linda Lopez. What a name. It was her 50th. I'm sorry I know so much about this. And the 13-year-old twins were there. Wait, what? I've written the names.
Emmy or something like
Emmy and Max.
Yeah.
I remembered Emmy because that's my name, but I forgot Max.
Me too.
The children she had with Mark Anthony.
Yes.
And Mark Anthony was there.
Wow. They're really digging in.
The ex-husband and the kids have met the new boyfriend, although the old boyfriend of 17 years ago. But it is on .com.
I wasn't expecting these developments at least until the Christmas season. So they're really fast tracking. But I imagine, I haven't had the experience of getting back together with an ex from 17 years ago, but I imagine maybe you can just sort of slot back in pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think it's like a comfy pair of tracksuit pants. The elastic band is maybe worn out a bit, but you can still pop them on and feel, and I'm not referring to J-Lo's vagina as comfy tracksuit pants, or for anyone makes that correlation, I won't have you besmirch a probably pristine, stunning vagine. All I'm saying is the relationship is probably like a comfy pair of tracksuit pants. If anyone's a pair of grey stained tracksuit pants in this scenario, it isn't J-Lo, it's fucking Ben Affleck, let's be real here.
It is real, but I reckon we give a lot of props for how good she looks. He does look better than he's looked for many a long year. He looks fit. Don't you think?
Babes, he walked through J-Lo's door and her team of gays went, right, head to toe. All the body hair, the bags gone, Botox, tan, jewellery, outfits. Like, he went through a full makeover montage, because if you enter into Lopez land, you've got to have the makeover montage, and he got it.
That's right. It's absolutely a criteria of entry. I want to know what they made of, because he does have that rising like a phoenix tattoo, doesn't he? Don't you remember? And
yes.
I wonder what the J-Lo style team have to say about that. Is he just going into emergency tattoo removal phase?
Yeah. I would definitely say J-Lo has some lasers at her house, because I don't know what she's doing with her face and body, but I'm certain it involves lasers. And I reckon the tattoo removal of the large phoenix wings on the back is number one on the list. I don't think we'll be seeing shots of Ben Affleck topless for a while, because I think her team of montage makeover gays are working on the back tattoo. I'm pretty sure.
I think you tuned into the house and they said, Ben, just don't ask questions. It's just going to be a twilight sedation. You'll be fine. Just trust.
So, look, I'm fully invested. It's all I think about. It's all I want to talk about. Like, it's been viewed 5 million times. I am 4.9 million of those times. And they look happy. Like, even if this is an act, I don't even care. They just look, I don't know, I got butterflies for her. I just felt like, she's in love. And I don't care if this is just a shove it up A-Rod's perfectly tanned ass. I don't care. I'm bought in. I'm invested. Hook, line and sinker. I want a T-shirt. I want to be in. Oh my God. Michael, I just realised there could be a wedding.
That has been among the very first things that I thought of. Can you imagine?
I can. I am. My brain's short-circuiting. I'm just thinking about all the things. Her wedding dress will have to have cutouts. I want chaps. I want wedding chaps for J-Lo. I want the full, oh my God.
I want, like what she did with the inauguration, where she takes church music but adds her own classic song lyrics into it.
Let's get loud.
Yes. Like she might sing a bit of Amazing Grace, but then she'll weave in just a touch of If You Had My Love in there as well, in spiritual form.
I want it in lyrics. I want lyrics and vows.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be fooled by the rocks that I've got. Ben, I'm still Jenny from the block. Used to have a little, now I have a lot. Like, I feel like that's what we want from J-Lo. All right, we've lubed everyone up with enough Bennifer. It's time to get into the tricky subject of Chrissy Teigen. God, and I want everyone to know, full transparency, we had tried to do this before a couple eps ago and I made our editor, MDV, cut it out.
I know, we went for a solid 20 minutes and then I tuned into the episode and I'm like, hang on a second, something's dropped away here. But you were flagging at the end of it. You're like, we'll probably have to cut this out. I'm not sure about this. I could feel you retreating from it the further we got into it.
Well, because it's such a complex topic that hasn't been figured out yet, and I want to say something new and smart and meaningful on it, but I also don't want it to happen to me. So it's like... So it's like,
yeah, it's half wanting to contribute to the discussion in a nuanced, intelligent way, and the other half just want to save your ass, want to cover all the bases.
I mean, you pretty much described my life experience. Like that is my experience on planet Earth.
That's right, that plus sequence, that's you.
Pretty much. And now Bennifer. But I just... It's become even more prevalent, and I hate the term cancel culture, but that notion of cancel culture is something so discussed now, and we need to all understand why. Because of the pandemic, all our interpersonal relations and everything and our outside lives have now become inside online lives. Because out of safety, we had to.
Where Em once had a marriage, now she has clicking on Ben and Jennifer.
Pretty much.
And it's a good relationship. She's getting a lot out of it. She's very satisfied.
Mate. But I think, because so much of 2020 was spent indoors online, like Facebook reported in some countries where it was, the pandemic was worse, they had a 70% increase in the use of their platform. 70%. So the online life became more important or as important as people's offline lives. This is why we're so all up in each other's business. So on Monday, Chrissy Teigen published a very long apology in which she called herself a troll and, said sorry for all the hurt she'd caused the people that she had kind of targeted online. Now, this all blew up on May 10th. Courtney Stodden did an interview in which they recalled how Chrissy sent them a series of DMs and tweets when they were a teenager. Courtney Stodden now identifies as non-binary. At the time, she was identifying as a woman. Mm-hmm. She was a 16-year-old woman who had married a 54-year-old man and was getting called all manner of things online, gold digger, blah, blah, blah. Interestingly, no one went for the guy. They all went for the 16-year-old girl. She's since come out as non-binary. At the time, Chrissy Teigen sent a 16-year-old girl a series of horrendous DMs and public tweets in, some of them saying, I hope you take a dirt nap. I hope you die. Yeah. So Courtney did an interview on May 10th and brought all this up again, and to which Chrissy responded and apologised and said, I'm horrified that I did that. I apologise. But then Courtney graciously accepted the apology but said, I didn't actually see it and no one's reached out to me from her team privately because Chrissy has still got me blocked on Twitter.
And then there were as tends to happen, other things started being unearthed as well. Like the stuff about Lindsay Lohan. Saying, every time, what was it? Every time Emma Stone gets a role, Lindsay Lohan adds a slit to her wrist or something. It was horrible.
Yeah, and Farrah Abraham, who was on MTV Teen Mums, she sold a sex tape for $1 million, and Chrissy tweeted, Farrah Abraham now thinks she's pregnant from her sex tape. In other news, you're a whore and everyone hates you. Farrah Abraham was also a teenager at the time. And now since fashion designer Michael Costello has come forward and said that Chrissy came for him also, but this is a more complicated situation because he's been accused of some racist tweets, which he said were fake. So that is another situation that is currently unfolding. All that aside, Chrissy did publish this enormous 6-page apology, right? And I read it and initially I was like, okay, that's pretty thorough. she said, I've got some of it written here, but people need to go read it.
Yeah, you do need to set aside about half an hour to sit down and it's a long one. It's a really long one.
She said, I've apologised publicly to one person, but there are others and more than just a few that I need to say sorry to. There is simply no excuse for my past horrible tweets. My targets didn't deserve them. No one does. She also talked about how she's been in therapy, how she was a troll, how she was an attention seeker. So she kind of, I think, said everything she would have assumed everyone was saying about her, that she was, a fame whore, that she was trying to get notoriety, that she was trying to be relatable and all those things. So what did you think when you read it?
Well, a lot of things, basically. I mean, it was a long thing, so much like a novel, I had a few different experiences. Overall, I did genuinely feel that she had felt enormous pain and remorse, and I didn't doubt that she was ashamed, and I didn't doubt that it was genuine. The longer that it went, the more I realised it was about framing her re-entry to, she started actively talking about, I'm going to come back online now and I hope to still give joy. So it did, I'm sort of fine with public apology. I think apologising in general can be a really good thing to do, especially if you're feeling it. It's only dodgy if it feels like you're apologising to get as a means to an end. But I felt like it was genuine, but as it went on, I started to feel like sometimes it's good to just own it and apologise without doing any kind of stage setting for your return. Just leave it at that and then let it sit. What was your reaction?
Well, here's where it gets complicated. And life is. Can we all remember that life is messy and complicated, and the internet doesn't often allow for that?
No, but ironically, the internet has complicated everything further. It's adds so many complexities to things, and then mysteriously also is a platform where it's very, very hard to capture that complexity. So we're all screwed, and we're also the first batch of humans to have to deal with this. We should cut people some slack, but go, yes.
I think people sit in front of the internet thinking that people are black and white, that there's no grey, that you're either good or bad, that good people can't do bad things.
Yeah.
They can and have and will continue to do so. And for me, it just felt, her saying, I'm going to come back online now. It's like, so I'm over it. I've done the work. I'm good. So, you guys do what you want to do, but I'm just going to be here living my best life as a better person. And I don't doubt that she has done the work, and I know that she's had a horrendous year. I don't think that she's a bad person. She seems to be a decent human who did some really shitty stuff.
And they were shitty. I think it's important to say that. You can read a few things where it's like, who hasn't said something horrible online? But to be honest, as much as, obviously I could look back on things that I said and thought and did 10 years ago.
You're pretty close to pure.
I was never telling anyone to.
No, you are one person who I don't think anyone's going to be able to go through your tweets and fault you.
Oh, I don't agree. I think they can even go through the shows that I've made that are 10 years old now and think, you wouldn't have made that today. But there is, I think that there's a real difference between doing something that maybe is a little bit ignorant to something that is.
What she did was calculated, targeted, and
cruel.
Fucking shit. It was cruel. But, does that mean that she, for all of time, is wiped out and doesn't get to contribute in a meaningful way and educate people and be better? I don't think so.
No.
But this is why it's complex. Because for me, Chrissy Teigen will always have that little Post-it note metaphorically on her. Anytime I see Chrissy, I'll be like, oh, cool. Oh, yeah. I'll always have that moment of, but.
Yeah, and really, and not just listening to people that she's hurt in the past, but maybe, helping them in a substantial way or trying to make actual, tangible reparations as opposed to saying, I hear you and I'm crying but I won't do it again. I think there are ways that especially someone with the wealth and resources of her, I think there's also an opportunity for her to frankly put her money where her mouth is.
I agree. Putting the money where the mouth is a big deal. But I would never say about pretty much anyone, they're gone.
No, yeah. Unless you've actually committed a crime, in which case, obviously.
But I think the idea that when the stuff that happens between you and someone else is an interpersonal exchange, and if it's a bad one, when that heads online for a mass gathering of opinions, it's never going to end well. And that's kind of the problem, and that's what I'm most afraid of. It could just take 30 people on Twitter to decide you've done something shitty, and then the press might pick up on it, and it's still only 30 people, but then there's going to be articles written about it, and then the vast majority read those articles and assume it's everyone thinks that about you, when in fact it was maybe only 30 people.
Well, that's the tricky thing that's one of the things that we still haven't figured out how to deal with the internet. And as you say, it's exactly right. It really only takes 30 people. If 30 people are committed to making noise about something, it can feel like a tidal wave, especially when the mainstream media starts reporting it. And yeah, there is a huge difference between, for example, Harvey Weinstein, who is a criminal facing criminal charges, versus someone who's got, who's had 30 tweets directed at them that are critiquing something that they've said or done or made. And
it's a spectrum of shitty behaviour. And we need to remember that it's a spectrum of shitty behaviour, and the consequences match the action and the hurt that's been caused. And oftentimes it doesn't online. But the other side of it is, yes, cancel culture can cause mobs gathering together, shit. But let's not forget the power of being able to gather people online and discuss issues that come up, and then figure out the new standards of what's okay and what isn't. People who it affects, because traditionally it's people in power making those decisions. Now, everyday people get to go online and say, hey, that's fucked. That's not okay.
Yeah.
When the Oscars got called out by, a relatively unknown black woman, but Oscar's so white, she just flippantly threw that out before going to work, and that became a huge movement.
I think that all of that is such an example of why it's great that now I mean, there's some scary things about everyone having access to a voice and a platform, but there's brilliant things about it, because groups of people that never had a voice now do, and also when you go back and look at things, it is a bit like I know the term woke is overused, but when you look at, we were just totally okay with entertainment that was just often all about just white, straight people. It's really funny to go back now and think, gee, when we were younger, when we were kids, we didn't think anything of it, really. That's the truth. But now people have brought it to our attention. And of course, and how could we
shitty. Most films that we loved are problematic.
Why did every single thing that I watched as a kid was basically like a band of characters with one girl. What? Yeah. How did this all happen? From Dukes of Hazzard to Star Wars to everything was just mysterious. I didn't even question it. Didn't even think about it. And
I only knew better because I had experienced a tiny, being Italian in an all Anglo school for my whole schooling, for 12 years. I only noticed lack of things because of that. And I'm still white.
Yeah.
I'm just a different flavour of white. And I remember just thinking why is there no Italian women? This is why I gravitated to Madonna so much. So this is why, when we talk about black culture in America, why we talk about representation and white people roll their eyes, that's because white people have always been represented. White people have never had to look at a television show or a movie and go, oh, I don't see myself. That's just never been a thing.
Never even had to listen to anyone say we're just completely absent from the screens. But now there's a way that happens, which is, so that's one of the good things about it. It's complex.
It's so complex. And, I want to really state again, I think it's very dangerous to think that the way to go about change is to harshly judge everyone. I think that is a really dangerous concept of, if you think we can change the world for the better and grow by just silencing those who are fucked up, we're dead in the water. If you're not going to allow people who have genuinely made mistakes, and I'm not putting Chrissy Teigen in this because I still don't know how I feel about that whole situation, and I don't. It's still a thought in progress. I probably shouldn't have done a podcast on it. I think that, you need to allow people to learn from their mistakes, because you can bet your fucking ass millions of other people have made the same innocuous mistake and haven't thought anything about it.
Oh, yeah, and things are changing so quickly that we're all going to, it's a very rare person that is not going to have something that they feel a little bit embarrassed about that they've said a year ago. Even
100%. Even, I'm regretting the last 10 minutes already. I'm already worried. But my opinion on this whole situation and on cancel culture is that I don't really have one. And that's okay. I think whenever we go online, we need to remember you don't have to have a solid opinion on something. I mean, I have the solid opinion on murder is bad, racism is bad, sexism is bad. All the big hitters, I'm pretty solid on that stuff. But the tough, nuanced stuff, I'm not. And it's ever-changing and growing and evolving, and I think that's a healthy way to be in society. Let's be flexible on our opinions on stuff.
Yeah. And I and let's also remember that there is going to be a time when we are telling our grandchildren, we were there when the internet started. You know what? It was wild. People jumped on the internet and they acted like it didn't matter what they said. And then 10 years after that, people were like in a frenzy of like going down. Like it was the Wild West.
Yeah.
And we are all going through it for the first time. And and as much as people bag out, like, or people are a bit skeptical of apologies or anything, and there were elements of her apology that I still think by and large, apologising is a good thing. If you feel it, as long as you feel it, and as long as you really mean what you're saying, I'm here for it. And I do think, we've got to have the capacity for empathy and some form of forgiveness.
And I do want to absolutely apply the template of, if she was a man, I don't know that the world would have been as intolerant of his behaviour. If Chrissy Teigen was a dude. I feel like when women behave in a certain predatory or strong way, Ellen, I think that we come down harder on them because we get uncomfortable when women display characteristics that are nurturing and caring and soft and beautiful and, helping people develop and grow. When women, exhibit that type of behaviour, I think that we judge them in a harsher way. I agree with you. I'm glad she apologised, and I'm nitpicking an apology, and I feel bad for that. But yes, if you fuck up, apologise. The end. Scomo.
Speaking of people who should consider an apology.
I'm really worried about everything we just said. Oh, okay. I'm getting told we need to just have a chill out before we address Scomo. Go away. I'm going to just towel off and we'll come back.
M. Russiano and Michael Lucas. This is Emsolation.
Okay, so Scomo is in trouble because of a pub and QAnon. Please explain.
They're actually not connected that much. But
okay.
Scomo, this has been, we've been hearing about this for a while because Four Corners was working on this expose. One of Scomo's very close family friends has basically gone down the path of QAnon big time. And both he and his son are so deep in QAnon that their family have been calling terror hotlines and everything like that because they're that worried about how deep they are. They're really prominent members of QAnon. And I'm assuming that the audience by this stage is familiar with, QAnon as in the world is run by satanic pedophiles. And that's what most progressive or liberal people are.
That's on all their taglines. That's on all their business cards.
So obviously it's a little bit of a worry to have a prime minister that is so close. And they were really close. That met through Jenny. Jenny and this man's wife were really close friends, bridesmaids with each other. But up until quite recently, this man was house-sitting Kirribilli House, which I didn't even know was part of the deal.
What?
Yes. Apparently, I just would have assumed.
Wait, stop.
Yeah.
The prominent QAnon member was house-sitting Kirribilli House.
Not this, obviously pre-pandemic, but yes, there were times when he said he was house-sitting. And I'm just deeply confused by that. I'm pretty sure when Joe Biden leaves the White House, he's not allowed to... He's not allowed to let anyone into house. But his wife was also working in some role within Kirribilli House as well. So they were close.
Okay.
But nobody is suggesting that Scomo believes in QAnon.
No.
We are a little bit concerned that someone who has all this access is so deep in this particular conspiracy theory. Yeah. And so the Four Corners special was about just digging into their relationship. And the relationship was so tight that, remember when Scomo was infamously in Hawaii when the bushfires happened, that was on a family holiday with this other couple. So we're really, it really went far. But the thing that was the most disturbing about it is that you might remember Scott Morrison had to deliver an apology to child victims of institutionalized sex abuse, and it was a big deal, and he did it really well. There are a whole lot of survivors of child sexual abuse institutionalized went to Parliament House, and he did a really good speech, and it really had an impact. But the big expose was his QAnon mate was texting him, and they had the receipts. They could show you text to back this up, and was asking Scomo to change the official apology that he was delivering as Prime Minister to add in the words ritualised sex abuse, because ritualised is a big thing in QAnon, and it's like that's that they believe that there are these pedophilic rituals and everything like that.
So you were saying that got added in as a dog whistle?
Yes, Scomo wouldn't have known. that it was a dog whistle because the guy was texting him going, yeah, just add it in, it's going to mean so much. But yes, it was consciously delivered by this QAnon guy to basically be a dog whistle to QAnon believers all around the world. And it just blew my mind that this incredibly carefully worded apology, that on the day of, Scomo would add a word that his mate had told him to add. But he did, he said it. And then afterwards, like QAnon message boards lit up around the world. And the QAnon friend of his and his son were all over social media saying, you know, Scott is a true patriot and a believer. And it was just incomprehensible that a few texts from a dodgy mate could get him to change an apology that was so important to so many people. And Lisa Wilkinson wrote, I feel really terrible for the people that were there to receive that apology, because it must feel so tainted now that this person had this impact. So that was the expose. And needless to say, the opposition have picked up on it. Penny Wong, she's got some questions about it. And Scomo's defense has been, the word ritualized. No. It was another victim that gave me that word. No one can provide any evidence of that. And he's refusing to answer any questions at all. And basically the sense is, we need an explanation. Please don't tell us that your QAnon mate sent you a message and got you to change an official government apology.
Is this another case of him just not checking with anyone else when someone he trusts gives him some information?
I could only assume so. I mean, it just speaks to really bad judgment. We've all got dodgy friends. Everyone knows. And you like to think that if you're the Prime Minister, you're pretty cautious about how you do
stuff. He just seems to constantly trip up like this. Just like, so that's a big, huge thing. And I didn't have the brain space to download it when you were texting me about the foot. You were texting me like, oh my God, 4 corners. And I'm like, I can't do it.
Because I went into it thinking, sure, he's got a friend who's in QAnon. How could you can't control what happens with your friends. And like, if I had to be judged by even members of my family, I know. I'm an independent person. But I just truly, truly didn't think there was any way that the show was going to prove that this friend had any substantial influence on him whatsoever. And it did in your mind. And it did, yeah.
Okay.
He's denying it. He's saying, I guess he's trying to say it's just a coincidence. And then he's saying this thing about, I don't want to address it because it's just providing more attention to QAnon, which is true, and that's something to consider. But nonetheless, I think, in my Prime Minister, I just hope that that their dodgy friends don't send them texts and it's not going to change things the way that it did here.
To be fair, you do text me when I'm on the project when I ask you what I should think about something. So, I understand.
I know, but I would say that if anything, that I'm more of a mediating, calming.
You are.
I'm very unlikely.
You're not a prominent member of QAnon.
If anything, I'm more likely to say, don't say that. Don't say that.
You do.
Just back away.
You do. You often say that. I think that one thing you say to me is, oh, look, I probably wouldn't, but...
No, sometimes I add in, I understand why you would want to say that.
You do. I understand why you would want,
and you're right. That's shit. However...
Now, the other thing he's done, he's obviously on his jaunt. He met Joe Biden but got lumped in with Boris, which
his call.
Didn't get
his call.
Didn't get his own meeting. Met the Queen. Oh, Lizzie. But the thing that people are up in arms about is he had a photo out front of a pub. And basically, if you're in Australia, you can't go to the UK because Scomo says it's COVID riddled. But a lot of people in Australia obviously have loved ones there. And people have family members who are dying or parents with cancer and they can't see them. And then Scomo posts a photo of himself out front of an English pub like, hey guys, woo! And I was like, mate. And again, I'm like, who's advising this guy? Where's his sensitivity coach? What's happened?
I know, it does sort of feel like he regularly gives little gifts to anyone that want to criticise him because, and some of the classic sentences, I don't hold a hose, mate. That's echoed through the ages. The vaccine rollout saying it's not a race. That that's going to keep, there's a fully another year and a half in that one. People will be able to bring it up. It does feel like, I'm intrigued.
Oh, but But surely he had people around him taking the photo and no one thought to say, Scott, just a moment. I don't know that we should be doing this because, half of Australia, I think, has ties to England and can't get to see anyone. We're a multicultural country. A lot of people's families are overseas. So do you think maybe this is not a good idea?
They can't leave the country and they're blaming the fact that you screwed up the vaccine rollout. So, it's not going to look good, mate. It's not going to look good.
Yeah, let's maybe just take a little selfie. Maybe I don't know. Let's do something quirky. Maybe a little thumbs up with Liz. Anything other than a picture out front of a pub. But look, I still will confidently tell you it's not going to affect him at the next election. He's still going to probably win. So whatever.
Oh. See, the weird thing about it is, obviously we're politically really not on the same page, he and I, and nor was I with John Howard, but at least with John Howard you could respect that he was a canny operator, even if I disagreed with everything. Like he knew his audience and he was cautious for the most part and careful, and just none of these, not nearly the amount of unforced errors. And I mean, if Johnny had a dodgy QAnon mate, he wouldn't have been changing his speech.
No. All right, from your dodgy QAnon mate, I say thank you. And
hang on, is that you?
Yeah, me.
You're not. No. Conspiracy theories. No, your conspiracy theories are limited strictly to pop divas.
Yeah, if there was the QAnon pop culture equivalent, I would probably be the queen of that. Whatever the QAnon equivalent pop culture conspiracy.
You would be Q in that one.
I'd be Q. I am Q. But no, in terms of the world is run by satanic pedophiles, no, I'm not there. I don't subscribe to that.
As to which divas are carrying their babies. Different matter altogether. Okay.
Stop it. Stop bringing that up.
Sorry.
Right? Again, private conversations are for private conversations. All right, have a good day.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
This is Emsolation.
Well, that's it. Well done. Could you hear how uncomfortable I was talking about all the cancel culture? It's so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable. But hopefully, I don't know, we helped you think about it, form a meaningful opinion on it, confused you even further. Could be any of those things, could be all of those things. Yeah, that's it. I'm not going to chat any longer because we have been here long enough. Don't forget to follow us at Emsolation Podcast at Instagram. All the information's there. Good luck in getting tickets to my second shows if you're on board for that today. And we'll chat next week. Don't forget to tell a friend. We want to keep growing that community. Have a good week. Legends. I'm off on another mental side quest because I've just seen some birds outside that I think I want to take some photos of. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I'm really distracted today. I think I forgot to take my medication. I always laugh. I'm going to go. But after this, I always laugh. I've had a few people when I've mentioned that I have ADHD talk about how it's a made up thing just so we can get access to the Ritalin or the legal street speed or whatever people call it. And I'm like, dude, you don't understand. Most days I forget to take it. If I was addicted to this medication, don't you think I would be so excited? I forget most days. This is how you know you need it, when you forget to take it. I think I forgot to take it. That might explain a lot of things. Shit. All right. Bye, darlings.
Emsolation with Em Rossiano is a Spotify exclusive podcast hosted by Em Rossiano with Michael Lucas. Executive produced by Benjamin Wasley. Produced by Em Rossiano. Edited by Mark Davila. With videos by Liam O'Brien. Socials by Marcella Rossiano Barrow. With assistance from Jem Evans and Georgia Watts. And occasional technical trickery and wizardry from Em's dad Vincy. Get more from Emsolation with Em Rossiano by following Emsolation Podcast on Instagram. You can also join our secret club by joining our Facebook group at Emsolation, and make sure you're following us on the Spotify app. We of course hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and we'll chat with you again soon.